Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 39. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show today. We got Mr. Jiu Jitsu with us, and if you don't know who that is, you soon will. We'd like to thank True Tubes Tattoo Supply for sponsoring this show. All you tattooers out there, go out and get all your equipment, your inks, your needles, your pens, your PPE, anything you need for tattooing. True Tubes Tattoo Supply has you covered. Limitless at checkout. Get a 10% discount. Check them out. Remember, stay true. We'd also like to thank Magic City Brewing Company located in Akron, Ohio. For all your wonderfully great crafted beers, check out Magic City Brewing in Akron, Ohio. Remember to go out there and check out RollAmongUs.com also. For all your fight gear needs, they have fight shorts, gis, standard gis, lanky gis, rash guards, anything. Some t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories. You want it, they got it. RollAmongUs.com, Limitless20 at checkout for a 20% discount. Check them out. Also, go out there and check out BattleBomb.com. Limitless20 at checkout for a 20% discount. They have CBD and non-CBD rubs for those aches, pains, those muscle strains. Put it on, rub it in, gonna feel great. Trust me. Try it out a little bit, see what it does. I'm telling you right now, I use it all the time. It's gonna feel great. Remember, BattleBomb.com, Limitless20 at checkout. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're hanging out with Mihas. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt from Youngstown, Ohio. He is under Marcelo Montero and James Terlecki. He also is known as, some of you guys know this, some of you ladies know this, some of you kids may know this, Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. The memes that have crossed everyone's path. Mike has really trained a lot in his life. He's been around since jiu-jitsu's really become an evolution a long time ago. He's competed. He's done some MMA type fights. He's competed in the ADCC. He's done a lot. We're so thankful, and it's such a privilege for us to have Mike with us today. Mike, we appreciate you very much. Thank you for being with us, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And we'll hang out and we'll talk and, get into jiu-jitsu and get in the background and whatever. You and Chad you guys have known each other for a while, right? And you're from Youngstown, Ohio, right?
Yes.
Yes. Good old Youngstown. And we're down in Canton, so.
Close by.
Yes, close by. How much snow you guys get today?
It was actually, I didn't believe my kids. I was watching I don't know if you guys are Browns fan. I'm a diehard Browns fan, and today was very
it was very hard.
Today was very heartbreaking.
It was.
So my kids came downstairs. They're like, "Let's go outside and make a snowman." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, make a snowman?" I put the Christmas lights up this morning. He's like, "It's snow," and I came outside. It was literally snowing. I don't know. I say maybe we got like. I'm not good with snow inches. Maybe like
a half inch.
It was white.
Yeah.
It was coated, so I guess that might be like an inch and a half.
Yeah. It was. It was here too. I mean, my kids, same thing. They were like, "Let's go." They were like, "Can we play outside?" And I was in the office working out windows so I could see it snowing, and I'm like, "Whatever, you guys go do your thing." Because I gave up on the Browns game at halftime because I was heartbroken.
You know what? I think the Browns gave up on the game too at halftime.
No, they did.
It was a mixture of the fans and I think everybody gave up today. They're like, you know what? We'll just start again next week.
Right. Which is awful. That was like a must-win game today too, man.
It was. The only positive is that the Steelers tied.
No, and Baltimore lost Thursday night.
Yeah. So there was positives we could take out of that.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, "Come on, Detroit!" I was like, "Come on, you got to win this game or at least tie this game, so it'll mess it all up."
If they could have won that game, it would have been amazing. But sorry. Well, we play Detroit next week, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
At home. I believe it's at home too. So
hopefully they don't embarrass us.
Man.
Because it's one of those games, you lose that, you can feel like the collapse is coming after that.
Oh, you can just see it coming.
And the Baker trading rumors are going to start, and it's going to get ugly, and I'm not ready for that.
I'm not either. No, I'm 100% with you.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
We're all used to depression. We're Browns fans. Awesome.
Correct. Exactly. Yeah. But Sunday
what were you going to say, Terry?
No, I was going to say the one coach, he has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. I can't remember who.
Yeah, I have heard.
Yes.
Scott Peters.
Scott Peters. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he a black belt, Chad? Or
I have no clue. I don't know what is.
Okay.
I know I think he's the offensive line coach, and he introduced some jiu-jitsu to the guys, but I actually tweeted him to try to get him on the show. And of course, no answer,
Yeah.
but maybe
awesome.
maybe after the season he can, but anyway,
you see some of the moves the tackles do, some of the little shorter shucks. No takedowns.
Maybe Chad could help the team.
Yeah.
Tripod sweep.
Yeah.
Penalties for wrist locks every week.
Hey, they won't know if they don't know, right?
That's true. They won't.
That's right.
That's awesome. How much training you getting in now, Mike? You get a lot of training?
I train probably 5 days a week.
Nice. Awesome.
But I haven't, it's going to be weird to hear, but I haven't done an actual like normal class in, they're rare when I can actually attend an actual class. So I have to call people and meet people at odd times, which is something I preach all the time when people train jiu-jitsu. I go, if you want to find a way, there's ways to train. Especially now that jiu-jitsu is very prevalent. It's everywhere.
Sure.
Like I can call someone literally right now and go, you want to be at my house in an hour? We can roll. We can roll at your house. I can open the gym up. There's a million places to roll. So I usually roll early in the morning before I go to work. I work for a construction company, so I usually get up early as it is. So I usually go in the morning and roll. Sometimes I'll go at nights. It's a rarity. Actually, I went last night and did what was last night? Was it no Wednesday? I think I went Wednesday night. It was people were actually shocked to see what they're like. What are you doing? And I'll admit another thing is I have like 5 moves I do. So me learning new moves is I keep up with all the moves.
Sure.
I try to learn to defend all the new moves. That's one of my things now in my elderly state. But when I come to class, it's because I'm there to roll. I'm there to get the jiu-jitsu part of the workout.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually done a class. This is gonna sound crazy. Maybe like 5 years. I haven't done it.
Wow.
5 years. And I get invited to do to go to seminars, and I don't do seminars. One is because I have real bad ADHD, and you put me in a seminar, and within 1 minute, my brain is going.
Yeah, you're ready. You're like, can we roll now?
Yeah, and that's not really a good thing. It's just how I am.
Sure.
I really wish I could sit there and break down a technique and do the 20 steps to a high level leg lock, or the 20 steps to a leg drag pass or something like that. I just can't. So I have certain moves I do. And I have modern moves mixed into my game too. It's not all old school jiu-jitsu. I think I have a good balance. But I think it's crazy when people are like, I haven't gone to jiu-jitsu class in 5 years. It's just, and I get invited to go to a lot of seminars, and I would love to go. And I tried to tell the instructor, not insulting you, it's just.
It is who you are, man. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's just going to be a bald short guy in the corner just sticking around. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to take away from the guy and, all his hard work. And so. I
mean, I tell people all the time, like, you got to find so. And Chad and I talk about this, from working out standpoint, or people are always like, well, we're joking, or not jokingly, but today, David Goggins, we talk about David Goggins a lot. Goggins had a post today, and Chad sent it to me and another one of our teammates. And, Goggins is always doing something. And his whole thing today was like, basically stop whining, like stop saying, well, I got to get in shape first before I do something. It's like, well, start doing it. Like, stop whining about doing it and do it. You're not doing it. You're just doing it differently, but you're still doing it. So don't sell yourself short. You know what I mean? There are people who are like, dude, I got to be able to do 100 push-ups a day or whatever. And it's like, I got a floor right here. I mean, if I want to, I can just start pumping out and come back here and like whatever. You don't need all this kind of equipment and all this kind of stuff. You need a person. If you're doing jiu-jitsu, like you just said, you call somebody, hey man, just roll. Heck yeah, let's go. And you get your training in, and you get in, you see so much stuff because it is prevalent now of what's out there. Like you can see it, you can defend it. Now you can work on doing that, and it keeps you going. It keeps your brain going, and that's how you work. And I always tell people, I'm like, you have to take how your body functions and function in life and do it that way, or it's not going to be fun. Like things are going to suck all the time. You know what I mean?
And you got to make it fun. You got to make it fun. There's also times for serious part of your training, but you have to make it fun. You have to make it. If you're in there, if you're 100% David Goggins mentality, sometimes you might burn yourself out.
No, you're
so
going.
You need to be even kill.
You got to balance, right?
You need to be very even kill. And I'm talking about people's like finding excuses. My good friend Alec Castro, I don't know if you guys know him. He wrote this quote on Facebook. It was maybe 8-9 years ago, and it says, most people don't want to start because they don't want to be seen starting from the bottom. And I think that's what holds a lot of people back. Nobody wants to be seen starting as a white belt. Wouldn't it be awesome to start as a black belt? Wouldn't it be awesome to start anything? Like, why go to college if I can press a button and become, a high-level surgeon the next 100%. Day? But that's not reality.
Right.
And I think the ego of the reality gets into place, and people just don't want to be seen starting from the bottom. And it's a lot of people, like a lot of ex-jiu-jitsu people that start training again. You see a lot of them come back, they're really excited, and then they'll roll with like a young white belt. And they're like, man, years ago, I would have destroyed this guy. Now I'm struggling. Right. And that's another thing. It's just people can't be seen starting over again. It's and with jiu-jitsu, people don't realize you start every day over again. Every time I go to roll, it's feel like I'm starting over again. It's just every time I do an arm bar, I'm like, man, how did I miss? I've been doing this arm bar for 30 years. How did I make that little mistake? It's like people don't realize that every time you do jiu-jitsu, it's day one.
Yeah,
sure.
You've been doing it, but it's jiu-jitsu is one sport where you can never master it. You will never master it. And when you think you've mastered it, you're gonna find out quickly. You're either gonna get injured or something else is going on if you think you've mastered it.
Yeah,
we're never gonna master it. So that's it.
Yeah, 100%. And you fail yourself. You literally set yourself up to fail if you think and have that mentality in life. You know what I mean? Like everything like that. If you're not willing to go accept it, which being in jiu-jitsu, like there's still ego there. There's still a lot of people that struggle with getting rid of it, even though it's behind the scenes or behind doors. The ego's still there. You know what I mean? Like out front, it's like, oh yeah, I got to check the ego at the door. But at the end of the day, there are people behind the scenes that struggle with getting rid of that. And that, Mike, what you're saying is exactly 100% true. Because go ahead.
I tell people that, I don't really like that saying, leave your ego at the door. Because if you want to be a competitive at your jiu-jitsu, I tell people you can't leave all your ego at the door. I'm like, you got to keep a little bit with you. And when I say that, I tell people they need to develop a healthy ego in jiu-jitsu. Leave the old ego. But if someone does tap you, there's nothing wrong with going home, getting a little upset about it, going on YouTube and going, how did he catch me in that? And then there's nothing wrong with the next time you come to jiu-jitsu to seek that person out, to roll with him again and see if he can catch you in that move.
Again.
I believe that's healthy ego. That's just you challenging yourself. But I think there's a time for healthy ego. And I think as you do jiu-jitsu, as you do any combat sport, you develop a healthy ego just from countering a punch or something, or a kick, or anything with wrestling. There's a healthy ego. We're like, okay, he got me with that takedown. I'm gonna learn to sprawl so he can't do it again. But I want to go with that same person again to make sure he doesn't get me in that move. And that's how you just develop your game, the blocks of your game. So I think the healthy ego is something you have to develop. The whole leave the ego at the door, I get it, but you can't leave it all. Or
sure.
You're not going to learn. You're not going to learn. It's as especially as human beings, it's especially as anyone, male or female, who likes combative sports, there's a drive that we want to get good at it, because the bottom line is we want to get some kind of mastery in the craft that we're doing. So I think a healthy ego, there's nothing wrong with it.
That's a good way to put it. I've never had that discussion or hear it like that. I never thought about it like that. And I love that, because you're 100% right. And you do have to have some to get on the mat, to even step on the mat, and to take some of the stuff that you're going to take. I mean, you have to have some savage mentality inside you to do a combat sport. And those who stick around, you see that they can evolve and go and do well at it, and they're okay with it and stuff like that. So no, I've never heard it like that. I like that a lot. That's good. See, I learn stuff on this all the time. this show.
Why we do this.
Yes,
right?
that's right. That's what I told Mike before you came in, Chad. I was like, that's really why we want to do this, is because we want people to see all aspects of jiu-jitsu and not just like, oh, it's this way and only this way. And, it's such a broad spectrum.
And that happens a lot in jiu-jitsu. A lot of people get stuck in their ways. And that's one thing I've tried never to do, is get stuck in my way. I try to hear everyone's viewpoint.
Sure.
And jiu-jitsu has helped me in other parts of my life. It's I used to be very one track minded. It's when I used to party hard, and I wouldn't see it any other way. When I first got into jiu-jitsu, I always thought I had to do everything the hard way, because I started out in MMA first. So everything was, no, I got to go the hard way. I got to go the hard way. And then I would do that in other aspects of my life too. It's whether it was relationships, everything was like one track. And the years of jiu-jitsu and failing and overcoming, that opens your mind to other stuff. And it's amazing how I know a lot of people who were struggling in other parts of their life, not just relationship, financially, with their businesses, and jiu-jitsu. As they progressed in jiu-jitsu, and the learning, the losing, the failing, the struggling, they learned that in other parts of the business. Well, guess what? Maybe I need to fail at my business here, and this will get better here. Maybe I need to try this. So I think jiu-jitsu definitely, it goes beyond the mats. It definitely goes beyond the mats. If you stick with it, I believe it could turn your life around in multiple ways.
100%. Yeah, for sure. And that, in my short time of doing, so I'm a 3-stripe white belt. Everyone out there is like, Terry, stop telling everybody this. You keep telling this every week. Because, hey, I'm proud of this. And I know that, like what you're saying, Mike, it's like, you have to keep coming back. You have to keep working harder, but it helps you in other ways. Jiu-jitsu has helped me in a lot of other things too. Like I've had a hard life or whatever, and different things have happened to me, and I've used life things and gone forward. But jiu-jitsu has helped like spread that out and change, and, have a different mindset on certain things and how to approach them. So everyone out there, obviously do jiu-jitsu. Just do it.
Yeah. Please do.
It keeps guys like Mike and Chad going, and me following.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was funny. So one night I stopped at a gas station on the way to the gym, and I had my rash guard on and my pants. I didn't have my belt on or anything. I walked in, I was getting some stuff and was leaving, and the guy was like, "Oh, you do jiu-jitsu?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "Right up here at East Coast." And he was like, "Oh man, I've been wanting to do." He's like, "How long you been doing it?" And I was like, "Oh, like this is just recent. I don't know. I think it was like 15 months at the time or whatever." And he's like, "Oh, wow." He was like, "Man, you've been doing it for a long time." I was like, "No, not really." And he was like, "Well, what belt are you?" And I was like, "I'm just a white belt." He was like, "Whoa, you're just a white belt?" And then I was like, "I just want to leave now because I feel like an idiot, but you have no idea. What you don't know, you don't know." I was like, and then I just said, "Why don't you come on up and try it sometime?" Like, so it's the best I could say. And then I left. I told
it's hard to interpret the belt system to the average person who's learned martial arts from watching movies, or
right.
who's learned all their life. Hey, my buddy down the street's a black belt, and if he's a 3rd-degree black belt, people hear that stuff. So it's when they hear white belt, they're like, they just brush you off. And little do they know that if I think someone who's been training jiu-jitsu 6 months consistently, is a very dangerous human being.
Absolutely.
They know how to kill someone. They know how to manipulate someone. They know how to control someone's body, whether they're on their back, on top. And people just don't realize how dangerous a 6-month trainer of jiu-jitsu is in reality. It's
right.
It's mind blowing, but they'll just never know unless they actually got on the mat to feel it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they show up.
It's amazing to me as far as martial arts has come since the first UFC, we'll say, right? Trying to get the knowledge out there to the regular people has not worked, right? We're still in that 80s mentality, like you're saying with belt rank, like when we all did karate back in the day. It's just, I don't know how the education gets any better unless, like you said, Mike, just come do it. You just got to come do it.
Yeah. Well, I try to provoke people through some of my posts on social media to get them to think of training. I try to just drop the straight realism of, if you do this, well, this is still going to happen, whether you believe it or not. Whether you've seen UFC 1, whether you've seen what happens if you take a person down to the ground, whether you've ever been in a choke or not. Because especially when people see chokes, they're like, well, I have enough time where I would reach for my gun, I'd punch you, and I tell people, and I kind of blunt with my message, and I'm like, no, you'll be dead. You know, they're just like, that's just reality. Is there's just, you can believe whatever you want, but you're gonna be dead. It's just how it is. I'm not gonna. I'm done with come to the gym and train. I just tell them straight up, you're wrong. Yeah. And I've kind of just I've cut to the.
You just cut to it.
I go, you're wrong, and I tell people straight up, you're wrong, because I know I'm right. I know I'm right.
Right.
And it's different being right by guessing. Like, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I believe the Earth is round. I believe we went to the moon. I don't believe stuff like that. Right. But I know stuff that I've touched and I can see. It's something I've been doing jiu-jitsu over 25 years. It's just, I know to tell someone, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, there's some stuff I'm like, okay, that might work but stuff that I've actually done and experienced, I just tell people straight up, it's not going to work. We don't even have to try it. It's just not going to work.
Sure.
Didn't you do a video where somebody bit your leg and you armbarred them?
Yes, I've done a few of those. I've done so a lot of people, so usually there's like a viral video will go out and the big jiu-jitsu pages will share it. And people will tag me and they're like, hey, did you see this and that? And I'll just straight up be like, and they're like, well, oh no, there was a girl. This is a video like that. There was a girl in Brazil that was armbarring a robber.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And she has been the armbar. And every time the guy would go to escape, she cinch it up a little bit. And everyone in the comments, the people who've never trained martial arts, are saying, why doesn't if he would just bite her in the calf, he would be gone. And I told people, I go, that wouldn't work. An experienced person with an armbar, they're going to snap your arm. You can go ahead and get your teeth sink in. It's that pain compared to all you're going to do is as you bite, you're going to make them armbar you harder. You're going to increase the pain. And
their mouth's going to open, not close.
I went to my buddy's gym in Pittsburgh, Armazzani's gym, and I was like, hey, I'm going to grab a couple of your students. And I want to put them in an armbar. I don't want to have it extended yet. And I go, as soon as I extend it, I want you to bite me as hard as you can. At first, he looked at me like I'm crazy because you want them to actually bite you. So we didn't do any tetanus shots. Yes, and I told him straight up. And these were if you watch the video, there's some athletic guys, and I was like, just bite me as hard as you can, and if you can rip my skin off, go for it. In my head, I'm like, I hope they don't. I hope my 25 years of jiu-jitsu is gonna work. And it was the same thing every time. Every time they would, like, as soon as I could feel their teeth on my skin, they wanted to stop. It was just, Now, granted, I've experienced of putting an armbar in, but putting an armbar against a complete stranger, against someone who's even trained, like I said, for like 6 months of jiu-jitsu.
Sure. Yeah.
The guy who's trained to do the technique is going to beat the guy who doesn't even know what the technique is or the escapes of the technique. So that's another thing people don't understand, that people are like, if you try that move, it's not only it's the person trying the move is more experienced at it, and you don't even know the counters to it, let alone that they think you're going to power out of something. So that's another thing. But that's what that video was. I've done a couple at Lou's gym. There was one where a lot of people, especially when it comes to choking, which is a word you're not allowed to. I can't type anymore on social media. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So a lot of people believe that they were caught in a choke, that they have enough time to reach for their concealed weapon, their knife, and they could stab and they could do all this stuff. And I said, if I have you in a choke, or someone who's trained to put on a correct rear naked choke, you have about 2 seconds. And they're like, so we did it again, and the guy would put his gun in his pants, put his shirt over it. Now I was already starting with the choke, because the point was that once I have a choke going, you could reach. So I was just trying to prove one point.
Right.
And then every time they would reach for he couldn't even clear his weapon. He was just right away. He's like, stop. It was just, and we did it multiple times. Yeah, it was just too much. And then of course people had the Mythbusters part of it. Well, you already had the choke, and I was like, well, that was the point. I'm just trying to show you that if someone is choking you, you will not. Someone who knows how to choke, you know,
sure.
You're not. It's very hard to reach for your weapon. Even if you did reach for your weapon, if you think just doing this motion, like say getting a knife and going back to stab me, it's just as you're doing this, the choke is coming on so quick. You usually just your hand might go to about right here, but a person who knows how to a good choke in, it's maybe
I feel even if you had like a seatbelt position, you could finish it before you know. Yeah, people just don't realize that.
They don't. So I did a couple of those videos, and then it's dealing with the comments after is just.
Well, do you seriously get death threats? Like I read that, and I know I actually had a guy, and I actually sent it to the police.
I can talk about it now. This was a while ago. He took a picture of me and my kids,
Ooh.
and he put it on a target. He put it on a target thing. I was shooting at it, and
That's
dumbass was dumb enough to send it to me.
Oh, like,
and so I and then I got 2 messages. This was like 2 years ago, but I'm a little bit more careful now with some of the stuff like that I post because there are some legit
crazy people
out there.
Crazy
legit
people, yeah.
Yeah, there are legit
and I don't post as much as I used to because a lot of my stuff, to what I was saying about using the word choke, it gets taken down. Like the last 6 months, they've taken almost. I have to be very careful with the words I use or what I say.
Okay.
Because I'm pretty much on my last they've told me you on your last last
line.
We are deleting you. I think that Instagram and Facebook might send someone to kill me. I think there's. I don't know. One day Zuckerberg's going to be in the bushes and be like, okay, that's it, motherfucker. We're done with you and just done.
Now you could be like, well, do I start a new one on Meta? Now that it's going to change, so you're just like, hey, man, just get a whole new. I get a new slate now.
I'm pretty sure the rules are going to be tougher on the new one. So.
Right? Yeah, you're not going to be doing anything. I just saw someone. I think Elizabeth Clay had something on Instagram, and she got booted, and she posted it, and it was like her 1-year anniversary of getting her black belt, and going through pictures, and she's like, "There's nothing here," and it was like, I don't know, man. I don't know the answer anymore. I know what you probably shouldn't say, but when there's some stuff that's just not that bad, and you're just like, wait a minute.
One of our guys, one of the kickboxers at the gym, got banned for 24 hours the other day because he said he was going to punch somebody.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, I know. I know, and it was a fellow teammate. Hey, when I see you tomorrow, I'm going to punch you. Boom, he's banned for 24 hours.
And I don't think I'm saying anything I'm not saying anything. I don't talk about politics. Some of the things people think some of the things I'm saying that I'm either leaning conservative, I'm leaning liberal. I'm just speaking about basic things why would I want a parent be in the best shape to protect their children?
Yeah,
right.
That has nothing to do with being a Biden supporter, a Trump supporter, conservative, liberal, a gay, straight. Has that every parent? I don't care who you are. If you are 2 gay parents and you've adopted a child, don't you want to be in the best shape to protect them?
Yeah,
I'm not saying anything. I don't care. I don't care what your sexual identity, what is. But if you are taking care of a child, and I don't care who you are. If you're a trans person and you have power of attorney over 2 children, don't you want to be in the best shape to take care of those children? I don't think I'm saying anything controversial, but people right away assume I'm fat shaming. And actually, I'm gonna cut again to something.
You're good, man.
I ran into a guy at the mall. He trains at another gym, and he's like, I like your post. He goes, I don't like the fat shaming you do. He goes, you can send people to depression. So I stopped him right there. Whenever people bring up that word, I stop them. I go, I would like you to, let's go on Mr. Jiu-Jitsu right now, and I want you to find one post where I called a person fat. He goes, you do it all the time. I go, let's see. I've never, ever called a person fat, ever. I'm very careful with my words. I've never, ever called a person fat. I've never called a person obese. I've never made a fun of someone for the way they look. When I say it's a parent's duty to be physically in shape, that's just self-check you should give yourself. If you can't go up, if you go up a flight of stairs and you're out of breath, it means you're out of shape. It doesn't have nothing to do with what you look like. And I know guys that people would call them fat that can do handstands, that can roll for hours, that can do athletic feats you couldn't believe of. And I know guys that smoke meth down the street that have abs. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't judge. People think I'm judging them on their appearance, and it's not. I'm telling people. And so I make posts. I'm like, if you're out of shape, I get a little carried away with my words. I might call someone like a lazy piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I've never called someone fat or by the way they look or because your belly's out there. I've never said that. But people automatically assume I'm fat shaming. And there's some people who like, oh man, I love that you call that guy fat ass. And I'll correct people messages. They're like, I've never called anybody fat ass. I go back and look at any post. I've been having a page for 6-7 years. I go all the way back and see if I've ever made of anyone or have called anybody fat. So anyways, I told that guy at the mall that day, and he actually apologized. He's like, dude, I didn't realize how you were saying it. He goes, because you're kind of abrupt. And I was like, oh no, the problem is you assumed. You just
assume. Yeah.
Some people think one way. They're like, oh, if someone says I'm out of shape, they're calling me a fat ass. No, that's all I'm saying. Like I said, there's people that smoke meth. If you see them, they're ripped.
Yeah,
they're ripped.
Right.
But I'm sure they're extremely out of shape.
Sure, right, yeah.
It's just people right away judge by looking at someone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
Sure.
that's the problem. That's another problem where people try to come down on me. I'm like, when I say you're physically out of shape, that I don't know if you're physically out of shape. I'm just saying, you know, if you're out of shape.
Right.
It's just you're the one that looks at someone and you see someone that's fat.
Sure.
Or this and that. Your brain's going, that's fat, that's this, that's that. And
Right.
the brain automatically is judging. So I think some people think I'm judging with my post and I'm not. I'm just stating a fact. If you can't go up a flight of stairs, you might want to get in shape.
Sure.
You might want to watch your diet. You might want to start training. You might want to do this because you have children that depend on you. And everyone's like, well, no, not everybody wants to do jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I go think about it like this. You're with your family, okay? And you guys get in a car accident and you need to like rip your kid out of the car. That's going to take some strength. That has nothing to do with jiu-jitsu. My black belt is not going to help me if my family is in an accident where I need to use physical strength. My black belt is not going to help me if I wake up in the middle of the night and my house is on fire and I need to pick up my 2 boys and run them out to safety. My black belt, you need to be, as a parent, it's not just martial arts. You need to be physically in good shape. You need to be mentally in good shape. You need to understand the basics, first aid, CPR. Those are all things that parents should do. And for some reason, it's made me controversial, which it shouldn't. I think I'm talking about basic things that
Sure.
every parent should like, you know, but
And it
somehow
should
I'm
be
getting banned for saying those things now.
And that's the thing. It's awful because we live in such a judge now perspective life. Like when people see that, Mike, you don't even physically see the people. This is what you're just making this post, but people read it. It's like reading an email and going, man, they're really mad. And you go talk to that person. It's like, well, I'm not mad, man. Like you put the emotion in it. Yeah. You did that. I didn't do that. You did it. I tell people all the time, I'm like, stop adding your emotions into stuff that you're seeing and reading because you're allowing your brain to tell you. Your mind's going to mess you up before anything else. Mm-hmm. Your own mind is. And that's what people do. And they read your stuff and that's what they do. And then they're going to come and attack you. And it's like, okay, that's cool. Like, I'm not trying to, just like you said, all that stuff. And it amazes me. Chad and I have these conversations all the time. It's like, wow, you got to walk on eggshells all the time because you don't want to offend people, but it's them. They're putting their own offense in the information that they're reading. We're not doing it. You know, they're reading it just on social media. It's awful now. Twitter and Insta, you know.
People want to hear their opinion coming out of your mouth.
Correct. Yeah. 100%.
That's what it is. They just want to hear their opinions coming out of your mouth. And if you go against whatever their belief is, and now that we're in such a politically divided, it's gotten even worse that if you even, it's like when I'm around people, I'm like, I'd rather not talk about politics because it's so easily is going to skew one way. 100%. And if you think one way, automatically you're going to assume that this person thinks this way about people, or he thinks this way on these ideas, or he thinks about this about self-defense. It's and my last couple of posts, I was talking about the shooter and that's on trial right now, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh yeah.
And the first post, which I knew was going to get me in some trouble, because
no one did it anyway.
Because that's what I do for some reason, because I'm an idiot.
Oh,
and I think the first post said they didn't take the first one down, but I knew it was probably getting reported like crazy because it had. I even forgot what I wrote. It's something about. Do you think Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty or not guilty? That's all I said.
That's all you said.
That's all I said. I didn't say that he's this. I didn't say anything, and people assumed because I wrote that. Some people assumed I was against him or for him, and then it just became a huge battle. And I don't even read the comments. And when people tag me, I don't even. Usually, I make a post, and then at night I'll come back and check it, and I'll just look at the bomb that it created. I just look at, or people will comment like, "Hey, this guy's saying this and that," but then. The next day, I took it a step further because that's what I do. I have to
jab the bear
a little bit more, and because I know that one of the people Kyle Rittenhouse shot was a convicted pedophile. That's also another thing you can't talk about on social media anymore. If you even type in the words pedo, somehow the algorithms pick it up.
And really?
Yeah. And if you say anything negative, if there's anything negative in it, and the word pedophile, those things, you're done. We'll take you off.
Wow.
We'll take you off. That's what
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I found out. Well, I've been knowing that for the last couple of months because I've been doing it for a while. But now they're like, you're officially done if you do it again. So I was like, okay, I won't do it again. But all I said was, whether you think Kyle Rittenhouse is guilty or not, whether he's convicted or not, are you okay with the fact that at least he took the life of a convicted pedophile? and the thing instantly went
boom.
Viral.
It went boom. It was getting shared everywhere. There was all these things, and then I liked there. I wanted to read the comments because I wanted to see people's aspects. You know, people like, you know, he had no reason to go there, and they're right. He should have been playing superhero to go there. But then there are also people like, well, he felt so compelled that businesses were burning, he went there. So I get both sides of the view, and I was just looking at it. But then I got the notice that you're suspended for 7 days because I said pedophile and something negative about his life losing. So anything you say something about pedophiles and anything negative, I guarantee your post will come down pretty quick and you'll get suspended.
Okay.
So, and I really enjoyed all these last couple of years. I've been really hammering pedophiles, and now I can't. So I got to think of like a new code word to make fun. So I got to
make up something new.
But I think they just shadow banned me on Instagram. That's what I was told by a buddy of mine, that even if you type in Mr. Jiu-Jitsu now, you have to type in actually Mr. Jiu-Jitsu page on Instagram, or my name won't even come up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I tried to tag you in that LimitLess Tape thing, and I couldn't even find you.
Yeah, so they got me shadow banned pretty good. So and I have some pretty computer savvy people, and they told me when you're shadow banned, don't post anything for a couple of weeks, and that usually will reset the algorithms. So, so I'm not going to post for the next couple of weeks just to see. I can't, anyways. I'm suspended.
Yeah,
but I might add to my own suspension, but I have to be very careful with what I put. Anytime you say, like, if I say anything negative about criminals, that's another thing. You can't talk negative about criminals. I made a post. This was a couple weeks ago, and I said, guys on death row should fight to the death on pay-per-view, and the money should go to the victims. The victims. And people went absolutely nuts. And then it got into and some people have points, because there are people who have gone to jail over racism because of unfair jurors. There have people who have been convicted wrongly. Sure. There are a lot of minorities who've been convicted because they're like, especially in the 60s and 70s, there was So I understand that point. So then I made another post after that, and I actually Googled when did they start using like forensic science? When did they start? And I said, well, if you were convicted after like 1980, I said that this post applies to you. I said, and then a bunch of these forensics and police and attorneys got on it. And I was like, okay, you're above my pay grade now. And I don't know, like, well, you know that the forensic science is got to this, the DNA is not to this. I was like, okay, you're taking the fun out of my post.
Right. Yeah. And everyone's a professional too now on social media. You know what I mean? Like if you posted something like, with all the pandemic stuff, everyone's a doctor now. And it's like everything posts like that. Everyone's like, oh, I've done this for what X amount of days or X amount of years. And it's like, holy crap. It's like,
But actually one of my biggest posts was because of COVID. It was during the elections. And I said, the elections were almost over, and I was like, I go, now that we have a clear winner, I go, is COVID over? And the CDC put a mark on it.
Oh, really?
It got shared on some big website too, and a bunch of Republicans thought they loved it, and then a bunch of Democrats hated it. They're like, you right winger, and it just got all. I just thought it was funny. I was like, now that we pretty know who's going to be president, is COVID over? Can we go back to our normal life? And
you can't be a comedian anymore. Apparently,
I thought it was funny. It's a little bit of truth. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. I mean, like Dave Chappelle and those guys, like they stand on stage and say stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what their comments are getting or anything on the side, so maybe they're getting like ripped down too.
You're never gonna win. And my thing is, as long as you're not really truly hurting anyone, as long as you're not condemning people to die.
Sure.
As long as you're not saying anything, as long as you're not saying homophobic slurs, transphobic, anything like that, as long as you're not, if you're just speaking what you believe in, I see nothing wrong. As long as no one's getting hurt. Like, I think that's the beauty of free speech. It's just, and another thing is, I really don't like where they want to like get rid of certain things. If I know someone has certain feelings about me, I'd like to know that. I'd like to know how they think. I'd like to see. Some people post stuff and you're like, oh, I didn't know this guy thought like that. It's just
sure.
I might have to keep my eye on him. I didn't know this guy does. He believes that. And I think once you mute people's free speech, then you don't lose. Sometimes you know people's true intentions. It's like, can you imagine if we had social media now in the 80s?
Oh man.
I think we would have been this division that we're having now would have happened a long time ago. Now you can see it. You don't realize that your neighbor down the street is actually,
100%.
You don't realize the other end out there is, he's a creep. He's posting pictures of young girls on his page, and just you can. I'd rather let everyone do their thing and let me absorb it and see. Okay, let me do my own.
Right. You do your diagnostics of it. Yeah. Like you figure it out.
I like to know if is this guy, this guy's super nice all the time, but on social media, because some people, they let their guard down on social media. They feel like it's a freebie, and you can see you do the wrong post and you might lose your job.
Correct.
Your kid might have to leave the school. You might get your child bullied. You might get her wife might lose her job. You have to be so careful. And it's like, but I don't want people. That's why I don't want like posts taken down. I want to know how you feel. And then if I don't like it, unfollow, unfriend you. Yeah, don't hang around you. I just know your truth. I know how you feel about certain things. And if they don't align with the way I feel, then I can make my divide right there. So that's why I think free speech is definitely under attack. If you decide how people should think, I think we're in for a lot of trouble.
And that's where they've taken, with social media, it's almost like take those buttons away, because it's not, you can't use it anymore to go, you know what, I'm just going to unfollow that person, or I'm just not going to, I don't want to read those posts anymore. I have people that have post things that I was friends with for years. And I was just like, I don't want to see this anymore, but I'm not like, just move on. Like if I see them, like, hey man, what's going on? Whatever. But it's like, I know that's what you believe in, and that's fine. That's you, and that's not me. But I'm not going to sit here and tear you down, and I'm not going to go on social media and be like, all this. Now I know, like you're saying, Mike, like I diagnosed it for myself, and I'm like, that's not what I believe, but you believe that, that's fine. Like, I'm not going to sit here and debate this with you. I don't want to get in that debate with you. You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. But like liking and unliking and all that, it's like, no, just unfollow and stop doing it, So,
well, now people feel they have a voice on social media. Not only can they unfollow, they have to make their announcement of their unfollow, which they like to do to me all the time.
Right.
So I get an unfollow, then I get this huge script with it. Why am I following you for this, that? And usually the people that follow me, I annihilate these people pretty bad. I actually feel bad for them because they just some people that follow me are just. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of enjoy it. They go hard. They go hard in the paint. They go real hard in the paint. And every once in a while, I'll make a comment. I used to comment all the time. I would do screenshots. I don't do that anymore because I just don't want to be someone's reason for anything anymore. And I'm just like, every once in a while, somebody will say something negative, and just to be funny, I'll go on their Facebook page, and I'm like, well, you posted this 2 years ago, and you're okay with this, and now you're saying because I said it, it's not okay.
Sure.
And then the people that follow me will just really start hammering the guy. But usually he'll end up deleting the post if I actually comment. So I try not to even. I try to respond. But I do respond to all my messages, though.
Oh, that's
serious messages. Sure. I respond to all the messages. There's people that I've been messaging for years all over the world. Guys.
Awesome.
Italy, Russia, Canada, Brazil, all over the world. There's people that I've been messaging for years. I've got to really go with Google Translator because a lot of people think I'm Brazilian. So I get a lot of calls from Brazil. Or ask me what part of Brazil I'm from, and I'm like, I'm actually.
You're like the Greek.
I'm a Greek guy in Ohio.
Right, you're like
I might look Brazilian, but I'm not. So I'm like, they're like Ohio in America. Yeah, they're like, most people don't realize that I'm in Ohio. So a lot of people think I'm either in California or in New York. So most people they'll see me at tournaments around here, and the first thing they say is, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, I live in Youngstown. They're like, "You do?" And that really freaks people out. They're like, "Oh, I thought you were in California," and I was like, "No, I'm actually in Ohio." And then a lot of people are like, "Where's your school at?" I'm like, actually, I don't own a school. I am a student. I am a lifelong student. Yeah. And that kind of freaks people out that I don't have a school. They're like, so what are you promoting? I'm like, I just want people to
watch.
That's it. And they're like, well, where's your DVDs? And I'm like, I don't have any DVDs. And like, I don't teach seminars. I don't teach jiu-jitsu. I do jiu-jitsu. It's strictly for me. It's a selfish reason. And if some people can gain by my selfishness of doing jiu-jitsu, it makes me happy. But I don't have a school. I don't teach. I don't do seminars. I don't have videos. I've been offered to do all four of those things, and I just don't do it. It's not something I enjoy doing. It's not me. I'm not. And I get asked all the time to do seminars, and I'll go to like a buddy's gym and I'll show some moves, and you can tell I'm not comfortable. I like to be in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care about a white belt's teaching. I'd rather learn off a white belt. And I'm in the background, and I don't want to be any part of teaching. It's not my thing. I don't want to do. And that's why if you go on my page, you rarely see any actual jiu-jitsu moves. There's nothing. And another thing is that a lot of people are like, hey, can you repost this or repost that? And then to not offend anyone, I don't even repost people's like competitions or anything, just to keep I keep the page very fair. And I'm like, I'm just gonna post my thoughts. And I've had some pretty big offers, some pretty big money offers to do, like, let's team up with this. Let's make a series of DVDs on this. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to. And it's
That's
and
good,
I made the price, but there's I've been offered some pretty big money to do a lot of stuff with the page that if I did it even once, then people wouldn't take what I'm saying serious. They'd be like,
Sure.
okay, he's sold out.
He sold
And
out.
now we see why he was doing this and that. Because the bottom line, he wanted the money, and I got a job, and I'm happy with my job. And when I do my little post, it takes me 2 seconds to write a post. I'm not doing any big production. I'm not making any expensive videos. I'm doing podcasts. It's just 2 seconds of my time. It doesn't take up that much time. And then I enjoy coming at night and dealing with the messages and the little fires that I've started.
Sure. Is that when you first started it, when you wanted to start that platform, was that your idea? Like, hey, I just want to.
No, it was actually. So when I started that platform, it was so I could find places to roll. Because when I first started in the job 15 years ago, I had to travel a lot for work.
Okay.
Before I moved up in the company, and I was traveling all over the Midwest. I was in Louisiana, Nebraska, Colorado, different parts of Ohio, which all over Florida. I would go everywhere. And I was like, man, I go to all these gyms. I usually take pictures. I'm like, I'm gonna start posting them so other people will see it. So next time I'm in that area, I'll have contacts. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna be in Charlotte for 2 hours. I'm gonna be in Charlotte. My plane arrives. I have 6 hours. Anybody want to get some rolls in? And that's what I used it for. And then I had maybe like 40 followers for about 2 months.
Okay.
40 followers. And then one day someone stood me up and I posted it on there. It was like a rant. But I didn't realize how many people connected with that rant. Because they're like, oh, I hate when the guy doesn't show up and you have to go to work at a certain time. And then a bunch of people shared it. And then and I was like, that's really weird. Yesterday I had 40 followers. Now I have 200 followers.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
These stupid words. And I was talking about I wasn't making a meme. I was talking about one person in general.
Sure.
Standing me up. And they shared it. They kept sharing it. And then I was mad about something that happened to Trade. And I posted again what happened about something happened with someone. And then they posted it. They're like, oh, I feel the same way. I'm glad you said that. I'm too embarrassed to say that. And I was like, and then it just starts snowballing. And I'm still using the page to find gyms. And as I was building it, I was like, hey, I'm going to be in New York. And then people were like, I'll come pick you up from the airport. We'll come open the gym for you. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the page is steamrolled. And like the last, I say 3 to 4 years, I work from our office mainly, and I don't travel that much. So the page is taking a little bit different, tone. It's just now I don't get to see the amount of gyms that I used to, So
Sure.
But I'm still posting my thoughts. It's just now I'm letting everyone in on a little bit of my thinking, how I think. So
That's okay. I mean, you're still posting stuff that's valuable to people, and they're going to put their value into what you're writing. Your value is already there because you're posting it. It's your page. You're posting it. There's value. But the other people that are reading it, they're going to put their own value. Like when I read your stuff now that I know, because I had no idea it was you until Chad was like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, this posts are hilarious. and
it says on that, it's like my face is on the Mr. Jiu-Jitsu page. I'm not hiding. It says Michael Mihas under. It's attached.
Right.
I don't have it. It says actually Youngstown, Ohio. It doesn't. People are like, well, you're hiding behind the page. I'm like, go to the bio, and me and my kids are on the front page of my
the front thing.
I'm not hiding anything. It's just a lot of people are like, oh, you're hiding behind the page. I get to see who you really are. I'm like, well, just look up and you'll see my ugly face and my children. You can't miss it. It's right there.
Right. Like, what more do you want?
It says Michael Mihas. It's not this. I'm not hiding behind him. It's me. So it's just.
Do your kids train jiu-jitsu?
Yes, they do. They do.
Awesome. Cool.
They wrestle. I'm the coach of our youth wrestling club.
Oh, nice, man.
They've both been wrestling since. I've had them doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling since a little age. They're more focused now on the wrestling parts of the jiu-jitsu because it's a school sport. A lot of the
Sure.
friends do it, and I help
Sure.
out the team. But I try to get them. We do jujitsu here at home. I got mats at home, but I've been trying to get them every Saturday to jujitsu class. They were playing football before, so now football's over. So
Yeah.
now we're back in the wrestling season. But I try to. The jujitsu is always happening. It's just anywhere
It's
around
year
with my
round.
kids.
Sure,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
we'll be at a restaurant and my kid will try to take me down or try to come behind and chip. Both my boys are. It's just something it's just they know that they really don't have a choice. I'm their dad, so it's just they didn't really get a normal dad, so it's just something that's gonna happen. It is what it is. So yeah, but they train.
That's awesome. Very cool. I think it's good. Yeah. My son, my youngest, I have a daughter and then I have an older son. They don't want anything, but my youngest is 8. And he was like, I want to do what you're doing. I was like, all right, let's go. So he started doing it at our gym.
Leading by example, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And he loves it. I mean, he's always like, can I go? Can I go? He's sick last week a little bit. And he was like, what, I can't go to jiu-jitsu? I'm like, buddy, you probably shouldn't. And daddy's a little under the weather. I was like, so. So yeah, that's good though. That's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Like I love like your kids are training it and you have a perspective where people have to understand that perspective. So, like you're teaching people things that they don't even understand that they're learning if they would just put the right mindset into what they're actually reading and stop judging so much and having more of an open mind. If more people live like that or understood that, like jujitsu helps people like that a lot. Like try to be open-minded more, you know what I mean? And when you're not in that world, so I was reading, did you seriously do an MMA fight like months after you started jiu-jitsu?
Not months. It's
weeks? What's it weeks?
About a week and a half. It's about a week. It's about 2 weeks. About 2 weeks. Yeah. I was
you guys back in the 90s, man. Like what?
I was a little crazy growing up. I was not the most normal kid. I admit it. I was a pretty bad kid growing up. My poor mother had to deal with it.
But you look at you now, man.
Yeah. I didn't really get that much better.
Stop lying.
No, maybe a little bit better.
You got good perspective though.
In 1996, I walked into a Blockbuster Video, and I was with a bunch of my delinquent friends, and I don't remember back then. You remember the Faces of Death videos?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we thought it was like, oh, let's go get it. Every time a new one would come out, I was like Faces of Death 4, and anyone listens to this, go ahead and Google the video if you want to puke. They're very disgusting. They're very even nowadays it's still graphic. They would show some very like graphic things, but back then, I mean, now everybody can go online and see something graphic, but then you had to go to a Blockbuster Video, and it was usually right by the porn videos. They were like right there. It was usually Face of Death, UFC porn. They were all like, and we would travel that. We would somehow, me and my friends would travel that way slowly. But yeah, so we would go get Face, and I saw a UFC video. It says 1 man enter, 2 men enter, 1 guy leaves. And I'm like, oh, this is probably like Face of Death. They probably die in the cage. I don't know. I was 20, 25 at the time. So I don't know. I started jiu-jitsu late. I was 25 years old. It's not like I started from like a young age doing it. So we rent it. We go home and we watch it. And all my friends, we're all sitting around getting high and doing whatever, getting drunk. And I'm looking at Hoist Gracie, and I'm like, how is this guy winning? He looks so like, my brain had one way of what I thought a fighter looked like.
Sure.
To what was actually happening, and it was mind blowing. And then I'm like, I'm gonna take this home with me. They're like, make sure you return it. I was like, I want to watch it again. They're like, you like that? And I was like, yeah. So I went home, I watched it again, went back to the video store, and I had UFC, I think it was 3 or 4. I'm not sure which one it was. Maybe it was 3 I got. And then I went and got the other. There was 1 and 2 I had never seen before. So I went back and I saw how Hoist started it, and I was like, man, this is awesome. What is this? And I was just like, I'm looking at it. So maybe by the 3rd day, a buddy of mine came over. Go ahead, let me try this on. And he's like, I was like, and he's like, what, this thing in the video? And he's like, yeah. I go, let me try this. And we're trying it. And I went online, which is why I still have an AOL email.
I was going to ask you that.
I'm very loyal to my email. I have my work emails, my Gmails, and stuff like that. But this is how old school I am. And I don't know, SureDog.com?
Oh yeah.
Well, before then there was Full Contact Fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were together. So Full Contact Fighter was the first really online site that had to do with MMA and jiu-jitsu. They were the originals. They were the originals. If you would see like Matt Hughes and those guys fight, they would all have FCF on their shorts.
Oh yeah,
fighter shorts. And it was those guys that were running it, and they posted that there was going to be a fight in Iowa. And I was like, let's go try this. And my buddy's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, let's go try it. Now this is two people that know nothing about fighting. We're practicing off the videos. This was the training. Get in there. We sign up. I get armbarred in I think 30 seconds. Yeah, it was just somehow my brain thought I could do what Hoist Gracie did without training, without training.
Right.
Yeah. Well, regardless, that's what got me hooked on jiu-jitsu. I was like, I'm the kind of person where it's like, I am one track mind. So I'm like, I need to get good at this. And then I found a jiu-jitsu school in Parma, Ohio. It was Craig Kramer. I don't know if you guys know him.
Yeah,
he had a
there.
Yeah. And I started going up there in 96. And I only went to the school for about 3 months. I really didn't enjoy the gi because in my mind, I was like, MMA, that's where it's at, MMA.
Sure.
I put the gi on. We trained a couple times. Actually, my instructor, James used to go up there. He was, all these guys were up there, but I just didn't like it. I was like, man, I want to do the punching and kicking. I want to do the ground and pound. So I went down to Columbus. I got to train with the Hammer House a little bit. I got to train all over. I went up to Coldwater, Michigan. I got to train with Dan Severn. I got to do a lot of training. So I fought MMA for about, not consistently, but it was about 10 years where I wasn't really focused on the gym. I was more focused on the MMA part. I fought it a couple times in Cleveland. I actually won my last fight was in Cleveland. It was at the Nautica stage.
Oh, wow.
1999. Okay. And I actually fought someone from Greg Kramer's school. And they were very insulted by it that I fought someone from the school. Even though I didn't train there for a while, a couple years.
Okay.
And Greg made everybody fight in the gi that day in Cleveland. The video's on YouTube. You can see it.
Oh, okay.
And I was just ecstatic. I'm like, he's actually going to make him fight with his gi. So I'm like, and now I knew the gi. So it's unlike when Hoist fought, where he was fighting people that didn't know about the gi.
Sure.
Where if you fight someone, you want to have clothing on, so they grab your clothing. But if the other guy knows about the gi, it's a bad idea to have a gi on if the other guy knows what he's doing. And I used this gi against him. And I ended up winning. It was a technical knockout, and I won the I gotta go online. It's called the No Holds Barred Midwest title. And then the other person that won his title for the East Coast or for the West Coast was Sean Shirk. I don't know if you remember Sean Shirk. He fought in the UFC. So me and him were supposed to fight to unite our belts.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of glad I didn't because he would have demolished my face. I watched him fight in the UFC. He was
yeah.
We were both coming savage. We were both coming up at the time, but he would have. Let's be honest, he would have destroyed me. So that was my last fight. Was in 1999. That was my last MMA fight. That was in Cleveland. I don't know if you remember Fox News 8 for Cleveland.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So me and they were actually protesting our fights outside.
Oh really?
It was back then. They were protesting the fights. We actually got arrested after. Monty Cox, I don't know if you know Monty Cox. He's a
promoter. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He paid for everyone's fines afterwards. And we got interviewed by Fox News, me and Dan Severing and Brad Kohler. You remember Brad Kohler?
Mm-hmm.
On the UFC? They interviewed us, and the people were chanted behind cockfighting, stop the fight. It was pretty funny. This was all in 1999. And if I could find anybody at Fox 8 to find that video, I would love it. If someone could, I would love just to see the video of me with hair. And they're asking me like, I was caught off guard. I thought they were interviews about the fight. And the lady's like, "What do you think about these people protesting?" And I'm like, I look like an idiot. I'm like, I'm just here to compete. I go, like I sound like a total jock douchebag. I'm just here to compete.
You're a young kid, man. Kinda. I mean,
imagine. But if anybody knows anybody at Fox 8, I would love to see that video because people told me about it when I got home. They're like, "Hey, you're all over the Cleveland News about promoting, like cockfighting." And I was like, "I go, no, I wasn't. It was a no holds barred match, was it? Yeah, it was
cockfighting."
Yeah, that was my last fight. That was my last fight in '99. Jeremy Horn was the referee.
Wow.
Wow.
Actually, that card has a lot of history. It was the first time Rich Franklin fought.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he lost. He got think he got triangle choked in like a minute.
Man.
You know who else? Ben Rothwell.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
on that.
yeah.
And then I was like the 4th or 5th fight toward the end. And then Dan Severn fought Brad Kohler.
Oh, like the main event.
Main event. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it.
I'm going to say it.
I'm going to say it. I think the fight was not on the up and up.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because usually before a fight, you usually don't do about 300 push-ups. Before a fight, most people wouldn't do 300 push-ups before they do a MMA fight. It's just not.
Why would you?
We were me and Brad were in the same locker. And
okay.
And I got the truth then, and he kept it pretty secret. I mean, I could be wrong. If you see videos of the fight, I think I'm right. I will send it to you. They get into the ring and they start suplexing each other about 30 times in a row.
Oof.
Suplex. I'm like, what's going on here? Why did they keep suplexing each other? Like it was. You'd have to be pretty blind out to realize something was going. It was very WWE-ish, yeah. So he suplexes him, he suplexes him, he gets behind. I'm like, no one's thrown a punch, no one's done anything. Then he suplexes him out of the ring, and he's like flexing on him over the thing, and that was the end of the match. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Hold up.
You're like, hold up, what's going on?
What the hell's happening here? So that's just a little insight of that crazy night. Yeah, so all these people fought on that card that night. Yeah, that was the last time I fought MMA.
Yeah, you're right. That's a history, man. You're part of history.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
How intimidating is Severn? Like just training or in person? Okay. I was gonna say, I mean, just seeing him.
I learned him from the videos. Then I went up to Coldwater to train.
With him, right?
He's a little more normal, of course. But if you see him going, remember he would do that after his matches. I'm
yes.
I'm like, are we gonna roll? And then he's gonna go. Like, you don't know. I was young, so I was just. But it was more intimidating actually going down to Columbus and training with like some of the guys from the Hammer, like Randleman and them. That was kind of scary. I went a few times.
Those guys
scary,
are crazy.
And like you'd sit in their guard and it was just like punching. And I was like, I come home. My mom's like, "What's wrong with your face?" I was like,
nothing.
Big black wrestler just beat the shit out of her. She goes, "You went 3 hours for that?" I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "He's beat the shit out of me." It's just. And RIP, I love Kevin Randleman. It still bums me that he died. You know, he's definitely a pioneer, a legend, so that sucks.
Probably one of the greatest MMA athletes we've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, just pure athlete.
Amazing. It's just, all the guys down there, amazing.
A lot of those guys had wrestling backgrounds, too, didn't they?
They all did,
I thought so. I thought they all had wrestling backgrounds, yeah.
They had some extra help, too.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
So it's just
back then, who didn't?
Yeah, it is. I've never tried steroids. I've never wanted to. My brain, even though I was wanting to try a lot of stuff, I've always been afraid of, like, you hear about people having heart attacks. Because even back in like the 80s and 90s, you always hear about bodybuilders 40, 45, 50, they have those heart attacks and doing steroids. I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to try. I barely take medicine as it is. Like, I get a headache, I just fight through. I don't want to take anything extra.
I can't imagine.
It's not my thing.
Yeah, it's not good. That you guys know who Cali Muscle is? Is that his name? The YouTube guy. You know who he is, Terry?
I heard he had a heart attack.
He just had a heart attack last week, and that.
Whoa, really?
Jacked. I mean, huge.
He's jacked. Yeah, he's like.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's
putting that kind of strength, and we've seen working out. Jiu-jitsu moves or even lifting or whatever has changed. The kettlebell now is so big and, doing more body work versus like you still have guys who are powerlifting and bodybuilders. But I think people are going, oh, I don't have to do like this crazy lifting to still have a great physical body or be in good shape or anything. You can actually do a whole lot of other stuff and you don't have to take anything at all, Even
a lot of guys, well, I'm about to be 48, but a lot of guys around my age, I want to say everyone's age, it's just a lot of them do that testosterone replacement therapy, and I have nothing against it. People always think, man, you just go to your doctor to use testosterone. I'm like, I'm fine. I don't need anything. I'll eat some more food, whatever. I'd rather watch my diet than give myself a shot. It's just
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, and once you start, you have to do it forever,
You have to
right?
do
Once
it
you
forever.
start,
that's another thing.
that's the other thing. Yeah, you're on it.
And I have nothing against if your doctor recommends you take it.
Yeah, for
God
sure.
bless you, go for it. And I'm sure my doctor would tell me to take it, but I wouldn't take it. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta stay true to yourself, man.
Yeah. It's
Like I tell people all the time, like do
something I need,
Sure. So what's next, man? Jiu-jitsu wise, anything wise.
anything. I haven't, my last competition was, I'm pretty much done competing. I competed at Fight to Win. It was 5 years ago now. And that was a nice reality check for me that I am definitely getting older, my age. My jiu-jitsu game is not the same the way it used to be. I used to love competing. I used to go compete all the time. And I did a basic reality check that unless I do like a true get really serious about my training, I'm not going to compete again. It's just,
Sure.
I think it's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing to my trainers, the people I train with, to my coaches, that if I'm not giving myself 100% in a tournament, that's just, it's not. I have a certain standard where I think I should be in a tournament where I should place at. And if I know I can't place there, it's not about challenging myself anymore. It's just I have to do the right training if I'm going to do it. And
sure.
So I'm pretty much done training. And I get offered matches all the time. I get everyone's trying to get a match with me, and I'm like, I'm good. You win. I go. I tell everybody, you win. You win. I go. You're the best. I tell them. That's it. I'm scared. I go. And whatever you need to hear, I go. You're good to go. If you really want to roll with me that bad, the door is open at Youngstown, Ohio. We can Facebook Live it if you want.
Yeah, and I'm sure for a lot of people too. I'm sure, Mike, it takes the fun out of jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is your release, right? Or your, and like you said, you're going to place in your mind. You want to place in that spot, and there's certain things you have to do that. We talk about it. The other black belt at our gym, Pete, people want to see him to compete all the time. He's like, listen, it changes me to compete because I want to go to win. Right. I'm going to be more selfish. I'm going to roll harder, all that stuff. He's like, I don't want anything to do with it. Jiu-jitsu is my outlet. It's my fun time. So there's that too. Some people can separate it. Some can't.
Yeah. I can. Like my last two matches at black belt were, they were disappointing. It's I had a super fight at ADCC. Oh, that's like 6 years ago now, against Ricardo Almeida. And Tom DeBlas told me about the match. He's like, I want you to go against my instructor. He's making his debut from MMA back to jiu-jitsu. He's a former ADCC champion. And I know they were trying to pick a fight where Ricardo was going to win.
Sure.
That they're like, let's get a guy who has a following, who's competed a lot, but we think Ricardo could beat it. And I was like, cool, let's do it. And we had a 10-minute match. I think it was a 10-minute. We had a 10-minute match. He never had been in any trouble, but afterwards, I was like, well, if I'm gonna just play defense, what's the point of me even competing? It's just he had never even got. You can see the video; it's online. He never really got. He took my back a bunch of times. He couldn't set his hooks in. He couldn't get chokes in. I actually was the only one actually attempted a submission in the whole match. But he was very athletic. He was a little younger than me, so he was.
I was going to say, what was the age difference there?
I think I was 43 at the time, and he was 37, something like that. It was okay. It wasn't too big of a gap.
Wasn't too bad, yeah.
But that's Tom's. He was Tom's instructor. It's his instructor.
That's who gave Tom DeBlas his black belt.
His black belt. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's who he's under.
Okay.
And that's how we got the match. Tom set it up. And it was just afterwards, and then people were like, congratulating, like, oh my God, you went the distance with the guy who was way better shape than you. And just, it's just, I was like, but that didn't make me feel good. It's just,
it wasn't fun. Yeah.
I'm used to doing tournaments and winning.
Sure.
I'm used to doing it against even I've beat some pretty decent people before, I've been at the trials before and I did pretty good. So it's just, that's when I realized that maybe we're at the end of the jiu-jitsu career. And then I got offered a Fight to Win it. And then that didn't work out my way either. It's just, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not what it's something I wasn't used to. And it's just,
sure.
And I was like, okay, then I'm very realistic with things. I'm like, okay, you're just not at that level anymore. It is what it is. Just, you should not be competing with high level young black belts. You're not there anymore. And it's just, it is what it is. And I accepted it. So. I'm not going to say if somebody offers me $1 million to do a grappling.
I was going to say,
no, I'm not stupid, but
right.
They don't pay that much. So I'm good. I'm retired.
When it gets there, you might be like 60 or, or so, but you'd be like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, but I'm done. Yeah.
What do you think about the evolution of it now, of jiu-jitsu, from when you guys, and Chad and I have this conversation all the time, or we've had it, but because it's so different. I say it's different because guys now, I know it is, but like learning, Chad has told me a million times, he's like, a lot of those moves and stuff it happens now. It did happen in the beginning, or a long time ago, but then there's evolutions to it and changes.
There's no list. Like I remember when I was doing leg locks at local tournaments, people were like, "Oh my gosh," like it was something, and I didn't have names for it. I didn't know what an inside Sakaku. I didn't know any of this stuff. It was just like I turned the guy's leg in and just like even straight full hooks. I was calling them heel hooks. I was just like I didn't have like. Yeah, and I was one of the, I wouldn't say one of the first, but if you look at local tournaments that were happening in Ohio and PA, I was one of the first people doing leg locks, and people were just like amazed by them, like, oh. And then I was one of the first people to do like a lot of half guard sweeps.
Oh, nice.
And then I was doing a lot of, you could look at some of my old tournaments, and now everyone's like coming up with moves. They're like, oh, I'm like, I've done that before. I just never call it. But I've seen other higher level people do it. I've seen, old mundials where they were doing certain sweeps, if you look at old ADCCs, they were still doing like Machado brothers were doing a lot of those moves that people are doing now in no-gi.
Sure.
Like Dean Lister was doing a lot of those leg locks back then. There were a lot of people still doing that stuff. It just wasn't prevalent, and they didn't have, like, if you have a big following, a lot of your moves that you show, some people are going to actually believe you invented that move. And then if you give it a cool name, it is what it is. It is, and I have nothing against it. I'm glad people are learning it. If it gets the word of jiu-jitsu out, I'm cool with it. I'm 100% cool with it.
That's one thing I've always wondered, like seeing a move, or, I watch Flow all the time, and, I watched all the trials and, as much as I could. And I was just watch the Worlds this past weekend, and I'll see stuff and I'm like, I wonder if they did that a long time ago. Like, is that new? Cause someone will be like, oh, that's like a whole new thing. Or if you see like posts on social media and it's like, is it? Like, I'm not saying it's not, because I don't know any different. I'm like, is it? I'll ask Chad sometimes. I'll text him and be like, did you see that? Is that new? What is that?
New again, right?
It's just new again. That's all it is.
It's just new again.
It's just new again. That's all. It's just new again. That's all. So
they were freaking out that Tracy Goodell hit that Joker choke. Somebody sent me, and I was like, man, me and Pete have been doing that for 5 years. Like, they were, So
that's what made me think about it, was because Pete showed me the Joker choke, and he's like, why they call it a Joker choke? And I was like, I do not. And he's like, see the smile down here? And I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw her hit it, and I was like, hey, right away, as soon as she got it, I was like, that's Joker choke. That's Joker choke. It's like, I know what that is. And I love it, because that's a great choke.
But people have so many different names for moves in jiu-jitsu.
That too.
It's the one sport. It's not like wrestling where you have single legs, double legs, run your half, cradles. There's a plethora, and each gym has their own lingo too. So each affiliation, you see how lingo breaks out. Like 10th Planet talks about moves one way. Guys from Henzo, especially under Donaher, they have their own lingo. If you do like Alliance, they have their own lingo. It's crazy. It's just
it's hard to keep up with sometimes.
Yeah, I can't keep up. That's why I say I got 5 moves I do, and I still suck at them. So I'm trying to master those. I'm still trying to master choke and arm bar.
Mike, you're like,
straight leg lock.
5 moves. I'm still trying. 25 years later.
I'm still like, how did I screw that up? It's just like, I'm just trying to get good at those 5, and that's it. I'm good for the day. I get good. I'm never gonna get good at them. I'm just trying to get a little bit better at them. That's all. So.
That's awesome. Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Well, we've kept you for a solid hour, brother. We've just talked. Okay. I just make sure, like, we've been at it. We've been just.
Well, I hope it didn't bore you guys.
Oh, dude, no. This is 100% what we love to do.
So, Terry, I don't think I told you, but Mike had a podcast for a little while too. It's been a while now. How long?
Oh, really?
How long ago was that, Mike?
It's been. Are you talking about the BJJ hour?
Yeah.
So it was me, Cody Tuttle, Stefanis, and it was Tommy Costa too. We were trying to we wanted to go. We were like one of the first. Me and Cody were the first people to actually commentate the ADCC trials.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
If you could actually go see the matches, we were the first people to ever commentate it, and we were just trying to do local matches, and then once a week we get together and talk about like what local matches were happening. Mm-hmm. And we did it for about it was almost a year and a half. And it got pretty big at one point. It got pretty big that everyone was going their own way. And I was my views are very opinionated sometimes. and maybe not everybody saw my point of view. And I was like, if we're going to critique people's training, let's make sure our training is up to par.
Up to par.
Yeah.
And I did like that part. Like I actually did a fight to win once, commentated one, and I decided I would never do that again. I don't like commentating matches.
Yeah.
It's just not me. I don't like, because I'm like, he should have did, the leg was right there. I can't do that. It's for someone else. I don't like critiquing other people's martial arts, how they train. It's just, I know how hard jiu-jitsu is. I know how hard these people are competing, because I used to compete, and I know the anxiety is going with it. And I'm just like, all I need is some guy go, let's hear that guy online last night. He said, you missed an arm bar, wasn't. So even toward the end of that, I wasn't that comfortable, and I was letting my views be seen that, if we're going to talk about we also need to train hard too. And maybe not everybody saw my point of view. So
no, but it was a great local podcast when it
was
lasted.
It was awesome.
I got to be on an episode with you once, and you came down to the cancer awareness seminar and kind of went live from that with when Mr. Hyman was still with us. So it was a great time. It was awesome.
Yeah. I was really glad to meet Mr. Hyman, and I got to know his story.
Yeah.
And it's still something I remember. It was the JT Tours, I think.
Yes.
Seminar. Yes, and we got talking, and I was blown away that he had already gone through like certain stages of cancer, and he was still and he was there talking, and I was like, I have no excuses. This is the epitome of not these memes. This is a real human, no excuses thing. This is a guy that he, up until the end, from what I understand, he was down, and I was like, there's your inspiration. Like you don't need to spend $1,000 on a motivational video. Just look up Mr. Hyman's story, and that's your ass should be out there training right after that.
I tell people, I don't know if I ever told you the story, Mike, but I maybe told Terry, but I got to spend a week with him in South Carolina before I took over managing the gym, right? Mm-hmm. And he had chemo one day, and I was staying at his house. He's like, "Hey, I'll be back in a couple hours, and we'll figure out what to do." Well, little did I know we were going to go run hills, right? So had a full chemo treatment. I love jujitsu. I'm not a workout guy. I don't run, right? But I can't tell this guy that just had chemo that I can't go run with him. So we literally went in South Carolina and ran these steep hills.
That's amazing.
For I don't know how long. And I'm like, man, what am I complaining about?
Yeah, you can't. It's just,
you can't. You got nothing. You got nothing.
I got nothing. It's people are like, hey, tell me something motivational. And I was like, you don't want to hear my motivation, because my motivation is based in reality. I'll tell you like a Mr. Hyman story. I'll tell you something like that.
Yeah.
And there's nothing flashy to it. There's no music in the background.
No.
There's no me making a video for my car. I'll give you reality motivation. So a lot of people I tell people right away, they're like, man, like I need to get motivated again. I'm like, you got children? I'm like, that's it. There's your motivation. Go look at them at night when they're sleeping. What more motivation do you need besides that? Do you have a wife? Do you have a loved one? Just something you care about, a human life?
Yeah.
That's in your hands. That's it. What else do you need? Your parents, whoever you're taking care of. Why would you not want to be there for them? Not just mentally, but physically too. Why not?
It goes back to to go back in the beginning, like when you talked about your post and people took it wrong. It's like, no, go 100% what you said, Mike. Go look at them when they're sleeping. Anyone, you got a loved one, someone you care about. I don't care where you're at or what you're representing or whatever. Go look at that one person or one thing and go, that's your motivation. That should be your driven, true motivation in life, is like, you know what? I have to be better for that person and everybody around me. At the end of the day, like, just do it. Just go push yourself and don't like cry and whine and be like, oh, well, I can't do this. It's like, well, that person over there is kind of dependent on you to do it. So you probably should.
Exactly. Exactly. 100%.
So many people do that all the time. We talk about that a lot on this show. It's like, and it drives me crazy because I'm I don't want to hear people like complain about things, because I think about stuff that I went through in my life and I'm like, you have no idea. And I could be a complete jerk in my life and go, oh, I blame it on the way I was raised or way things happen. It's like, no, that's not cool, man.
And we've all done that. I used to do that. I tell people I was the king of excuses. I had lost my father at a young age, and I used to blame a lot of my bad behavior on that I had no male role model. And that was always my excuse. And then other people actually reinforce that. They're like, well, he lost his dad. We're going to let him act like a dick. He lost his dad. It's okay if he got in trouble now. It's just, and then people reinforce that. And I'm like, someone should have stepped up, beat my ass and go, no, because you don't have a father. I'm going to step in. So it's
100%.
I think especially a male role model is very important in boys and girls' lives. It's something that's very important. I know there's a lot of divorced parents out there, but find a good male role model. Someone can find your podcast, someone can find your podcast.
Yeah.
I like these guys, that could be their next role model, or listen to you guys talk. It's just, you never know. There's role models out there. It's just making sure people find the right avenue, find the right
avenue, right?
Yeah.
I tell Chad this all the time. I was like, it takes one thing you do and only one person to find that, and that one person may be that time. They need what you just said. I could be like, there's a million people out there that follow this or see this or whatever, but I just want one person to just read one thing or hear one thing and be like, wow, okay, this is going to help, or this changes whatever. I'm not looking like, I'm not the motivation or the music or anything. It's just like, no, just the one thing. It's like, that's what I want to change for anybody. I don't care about all the other stuff. It doesn't matter. All that other stuff's not important. It's just that one moment, that one time. So that's why I like your posts, because I see it that way. Like, I look at it that way, as in going, you got to just have a different mindset. You have to have an open mind to read stuff and to understand it. Not that I don't let social media get to me, because there are stuff and I'm just like, what the heck? You know what I mean? So, especially the jujitsu stuff now that I read, or if I'm in any of those groups and stuff, and I'll see some comment, and I always tell Chad, I'm like, why do people laugh at this? Like, you'll see people just like hit the laugh emoji, and I'm like, there's nothing funny about this. I'm
like, that person I post that people laugh at. I'm like, I wasn't even trying to be funny. I was
right. Like, I'm trying to be serious. Right.
I was actually the people like, oh my God, you're so funny. And I was like, I guess. I think I am. My wife doesn't think I'm funny. That's the last one thinks I'm funny is my wife. She thinks I'm an idiot. So
she supports you though.
Yeah.
She's like, Mike, you gonna make a post tonight?
I can't. I'm suspended. I can't.
That's right.
You can't make a post.
It's probably like 2 more weeks till you see me come on. So if anybody asks where I'm at, they're still alive.
Let them know.
Alive. We'll let you know. We'll let them know. Awesome, man. Cool. Good stuff, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I just loved it. Go ahead,
get some training in, Mike. Come on down.
I will definitely. I need to make my way up there, and I will definitely let you know. I'll definitely come up there. We'll get some rolls in.
Maybe we'll have to have another jiu-jitsu prom. That's the last time I saw you.
Jiu-jitsu prom. What is that?
Yeah. I was before him. It was at the old gym. We just had this jiu-jitsu prom where you showed up in prom attire and rolled. So that's the first time I got.
You set it up on there. You set it up.
That's pretty awing.
Yeah, it was
fun.
Again.
You have to wear a sash that says Mr. Jiu-Jitsu on it and we'll come in.
No, it was legit, Terry. We had like a balloon arch for pictures. Oh yeah.
Everybody's rolling their costumes. It was awesome. Yeah, you should definitely do it again. I support that 100%.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we can make it happen. Make it happen again.
Make it happen. It's a good excuse for me to come up too.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Good.
Cool.
All right, man. Hey, anything or anyone or any information you want to throw out, Mike? Outside of, I know you always put a lot out there already. So
I got nothing.
All right, brother.
If you want to follow me, it's Michael Mihas or Mr. Jiu-Jitsu. I post the same stuff on YouTube both.
Right on.
My page. They're all connected anyway. So, but
but
I can't write back to you. I can see what you're writing. I can't write back. But I guess I can talk in private messages. That's why when I talk to the chat, I'm like, can you see what I'm writing? He's like,
I was like, what?
Yeah. I do know how to read, dummy, but I'm like, because I didn't know, because they said I was suspended, so I just can't post or like anything on social media. I can read anything people send me or tag me, and I just can't. Only if it's a private message, I guess.
Yeah.
You've invented the can you hear me now? Can you see what I'm writing?
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm sure Chad was freaked out for my text. He's like, well, what do you mean? Can you see what I'm writing? I should promote. Can you see what I'm writing? I'm suspended from Facebook, but
right. That's all right.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome. Cool. Chad, anything?
No.
Right. One piece of advice for jiu-jitsu people. Give me one piece of advice. I'm a 3-stripe white belt.
Don't compare yourself to others.
Thank you. 100%.
Perfect. Yeah.
Because I was there. Like Chad knows this. Like it was months in, you know what I mean? It's just like showing up and thinking, well, I can do that, but I'm still like, wait a minute. But And I got through it and I talked about it and I'm like, oh, I get it now.
There you go.
So, all right, my brother. Appreciate you so much, Mike. Be safe. Take care of yourself,
you.
man. God bless you guys and your family, and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you. Thanks,
all right,
guys.
man. Yes.
Thanks, brother.
See you.
See ya.
Hey everyone, we hope you enjoyed the show today. Remember, go out there and check out all our sponsors. By supporting them, you support the Limitless Radiocast podcast. It helps us bring you guys content each and every week and keeps us going. Thank you, and we appreciate you for all you do. Limitless Radiocast is brought to you by True Tubes Tattoo Supply. Limitless 10 at checkout for a 10% discount on all your tattoo needs. They have state-of-the-art equipment for everyday needs in the tattooer's life. Check them out. Remember, stay true. Limitless Radiocast is also brought to you by Magic City Brewing Company. Best beer brewed in the hometown of Akron, Ohio. Check them out. Check out RollAmongUs.com. Put in Limitless20 at checkout for a 20% discount on all your fight gear needs. That's gis, lanky gis, rash guards, spats, fight shorts. They have t-shirts and accessories. Check them out. Great place ran by a great guy. Also, check out BattleBomb.com. Put in Limitless20 at checkout for a 20% discount. You have CBD and non-CBD rub to rub on those aches and pains from hard training, hard work, everyday life. Check them out. Remember, Limitless20 at checkout, BattleBomb.com.